Hi, this is Bruce and Tom, broadcasting from Retreat Recording Studios in Brighton, UK. And today we're going to be talking about another really super important subject, which is how to get more support slots for your band. And this is the key to building your audience for lots of musicians and all the big bands. That's one of the kind of cornerstones of their strategy for taking it to a wider audience, isn't it?
Absolutely. And before you can even think about booking that headline tour yourself, one really brilliant idea is before you start going up to Manchester, playing a couple of gigs to nobody, how about doing that leg of the journey, supporting a slightly more established band? It sounds ideal, and that's why everyone wants to do it. However, it is possible those support slots are out there. So then when you go back to that same town under your own steam, you've got some people that saw you at the show.
I mean, it works brilliantly, but there's a bit of a fly in the ointment in that they're really hard to get.
Yeah.
So at every level below festival headliner, everybody's scrabbling for support slots. The bands that you've heard of are in for these slots. And just thinking back to my own band, Colour of Noise, we were at we're still grassroots level. We could play to clubs, perhaps just about to do our own headline tour. And even so, I'd be inundated with bands wanting to support us. And it's important to understand the politics around this as well. Just because we might dig your band doesn't mean you can easily get on the bill, because if the headline band is working with a particular agent, they're going to have loads of bands on their roster that they're going to want to shoehorn onto that tour. The manager might be managing several other bands.
Yep.
There might be a political reason why if a band goes on, it helps out the radio situation. There's all sorts of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Buy-ons.
Yeah, let's talk about that. There's a real easy way of getting tours, and that's just to pay for them.
Yeah.
You can't blame some of the headline bands because I've never done it myself. I'll tell a lie. There was a tour, I was in a band called Blow, which we were on an indie label. We were really struggling with the budget. We hadn't even thought about the sports, and someone offered $5,000 to buy onto a little tour. This was back in the early 90s. Right. It's probably worth about $15,000 now, and I'm not ashamed to say we took it. What about, have you had an experience of buy-ons?
Not with my band particularly. I know some bands that have done some buy-on tours, and there is a bit of a stigma attached to it because it can be kind of frowned upon and not cool at all and all that sort of stuff. But it's it does depend on the situation of the band, and if you think about what that money can then go and do, it can be reinvested in so many different ways into the project. So
yeah, and a lot of people disguise it slightly. So you basically pay for the lighting rig or the bus.
Yeah.
So it's a buy-on as far, to all intents and purposes. You've got to take a view on it as well, and you've got to understand that bands don't make it because they just get a support tour. Bands get elevated because several things happens at once. So they're on the road, they've got good press, they've got a great record, they're getting some radio, the social media is good. Everything happening at once. So just getting the Iron Maiden tour won't break a band. You can see loads of big bands that have got bands supporting them. It hasn't fundamentally changed their careers. So it's not the be-all and the end-all. And if you get an opportunity, I wouldn't just rush to get your wallet out. It's the least attractive and the least useful way of doing it. On organic is always best. Yeah. So we know it's difficult. We know there's politics. We know there's lots of competition. So where do we start? Have you got any ideas, Tom?
Well, it might seem that all hope is lost, and you think, oh, that tour's gone because such and such is on it, and such, another band is doing all of the dates. But what about that all important first on? Yeah. Early doors, but if the show's not selling particularly well, or even just to kind of bolster, the bill and add some sort of local injection, local story into it as well, it's very common that they'll have a first on that are not on the tour.
Yes.
And that slot can be yours, and you're equally associated with that act. You've supported that band. It's
good on your CV. Absolutely. Even if there's not many people through the door when you're on, it looks great after the event, and it sets you in great stead for other supports. So I suppose the way is a lot of these decisions are made last minute, because if the tickets haven't sold, suddenly it's a scrabble around to get someone on the bill to get another 100 tickets sold. So you need to know the promoter, they need to know about you, and you need to be good for tickets in your hometown, and then you'll pick up a few of these gigs.
And it might even be that there's a tour support booked for the tour, but it's already a sort of worked out plan agreed with the band, the management, and the booking agent that at every show we're going to have a first on local, and that might even be students from local music colleges. I've done some tours like that before, and that's been really, really useful because it's mutually beneficial for absolutely everyone at that point.
Okay, that's a really good idea. Getting the third on the bill slots, targeting that, and just pushing for that at all times. Another area to look is there are an increasing amount of stages for emerging talent. So we've been running the Rising Stage for the Rambling Man Festival for several years now. We've seen that concept is happening all over the place. Bloodstock have got a great stage. Planet Rock are supporting new talent.
There's a lot of the indie festivals, kind of like Why Not 2000 Trees, that are really kind of nurturing the up and coming kind of grassroots.
Isle of Wight Festival had several new bands, including Saint Apache this year. So, there's lots of bands out there, but refer back to our previous videos of how you can stand out, because there might be several hundred bands applying, but only a few, 20 to 30 will actually be applying in a credible way. So we're starting to get a bit of focus now, so we can be really clear on what makes your band an attractive band for a bigger band to go, let's have those guys on the tour. So you've sorted your local scene out, you've pulled in a few third on the bill slots for bigger acts, looks good on the CV. You've done some headline swaps, so you've got some audience all around the country. Your social media is really good, and possibly even you've been on one of the stages on the festivals. Maybe you've got a BBC introducing, tick, 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 tick. If you've got 5,000 plus likes on Facebook, that can help. If you've got a good profile on Instagram, if you've got a visible audience, and if you've got a great video on YouTube, tick, 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 congratulations, you are seriously in the running, not only for a support slot, but also for some of the agents that are working at the upper end of the grassroots scene to start taking you seriously as well. So it's not rocket science. I suppose what it is a bit of hard graft.
Yep, it's getting straight involved and starting to connect these dots.
Yes.
And seeing, okay, so if I do that and then go to that, this can then start painting a picture of how we can actually start making this work for ourselves. And it is there. It is doable.
It's there for everybody, and I think it's a good thing that it's hard work, because although it's easy to make your band look good on Facebook, this stuff is proper hard work, and most bands won't do it. Do this, make the right music, look great, job done. If music is becoming really important to you and you want to find out about working on stuff like this on a full-time basis, you can come and study at WaterBear. We do degrees, we do masters for people that are more experienced as well. To find out more, contact us through the website or just give us a ring and we'll sort out a one-to-one consultation. Keep at it. I know it's tough. We know how it is, but the rewards are there. We're with you all the way. Keep sending us the music. Good luck. Stay in touch.